So first, our first guest is someone who has kicked off every automotive State of the Union, from the very first one all the way through to this fifth one. Kind of labeled him Iron Man, but he's the one that is really the tip of the spear for the industry in so many areas. So I want to welcome the chairman of NADA, Rhett Ricart, to the program for the fifth time. Rhett, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us today. All right, we got to make sure that Rhett can hear us. We're working on that. Rhett, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Paul.
Very nice. Good to see you. Good to have you here as usual.
Well, someday I'll be able to wear it and dress like you every day at work. You know, I haven't worked that one out yet. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, I'll send you the swag and you can give it a shot. I tell people the only reason I started an agency is so I could dress like this and get away with it. So look, this is our fifth time together addressing everyone in the industry. So we've talked about so many topics during the segments, and we've gone everywhere from like getting dealers to be deemed essential businesses, right through the liability of what could possibly happen if somebody gets sick on their premises. And I know that the situation changes. I texted you last week to see if you'd be on the show, and you said, "Oh, I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about." So things change from a day-to-day basis. So why don't you just give us a very real-time update of what's going on and what NADA is kind of seeing over the horizon?
Well, thanks, Paul. First of all, thank you for over-communicating during these very unpredictable times. The dealers need this. They need to be able to reach out and hear the issues that we have at hand and get it firsthand from what's really going on, because you read all the periodicals and all the newspapers and watch all the TV. It sometimes gets you confused. And hopefully I can eliminate a lot of confusion for our dealer friends out there.
For sure.
You wonder what the NADA has been doing. We've been busy. We've been, the old term of Top Gun, Mach 2 and our hair on fire, working out of our facilities. We have the main NADA headquarters open now, but, Capitol Hill's a buzzing right now. Capitol Hill, you got the August 8th deadline for your for the last go-round on the for the monies. And you also got the Capitol Hill fighting about it. You got Capitol Hill fighting about Pelosi and McConnell fighting about having the torch legislation and also having additional funding and things like that. So it's a very unpredictable time, and it's highly energetic and a lot of pressure right now. And the NADA staff, I'm so proud of them. They're on top of it. Our legislative staff is really on top of it. So, and other things are going on that you don't know about, that you sometimes slip under the radar.
Yeah.
And one of them is our data management. Right now the FTC is looking at how dealers handle our data. And, there's new threats out there every day. You heard about that 15-year-old kid that broke into LinkedIn or something for Obama and a few other celebrities. And, it's going to continue for all of us. So our data is very, very important. How we manage our data, how we manage our social media, how we manage all those things. And the FTC is looking at all that right now. And we're making sure we've given a lot of letters. We've got a lot of presentation to make sure they understand. The dealers can only do so much. The dealers are doing everything we can. And with these new threats, we're staying on top of them. But their latest suggestion from last year was to give us a $300,000 initial cost to implement these safeguards that they want, another $300,000 a year to do them. And it's just not doable for dealers. So we're on Capitol Hill making sure when they refresh their thoughts and they come out and they get this new overview, they know exactly what dealers can do and what we can do. But the biggest thing that's come through recently is the American Bar Association had a new resolution. As you know, since 2014, dealers across the country have been afforded the NADA Fair Credit Compliance Guide. And us at our dealership, we've been doing it since day one. And that explains, and it has paperwork that shows that customers, if we discount their interest rate on auto loans, how and why we do it. Mm-hmm. And this has been around. Many of the dealers in the country have implemented. It's completely optional for dealers to do. But the ABA passed a resolution by their executive board that they recognize that as a type of safe harbor for dealers to use to make sure if anything can't come back later, that there's some sort of disparate impact or things of that order. It's a big win for the entire consumer industry. It's an entire win for the dealers. It's entire for someone else. It's very easy to do. We've been doing it, as I said, since 2014. And it just clarifies a lot of the things that we're doing already in our dealerships. And it's really going to help us in the future. So the ABA resolution has been a big thing. The NADA has been a big part of. Since 2014, we've been pushing for this. So this is one of those things that's almost like selling a piece of speculative real estate. You kind of got to wait a while, but things on Capitol Hill don't move as quick as they do on your showroom floor. It takes a lot of hard work. So we're real proud of our group. At the same time, we're keeping our dealer academy open right now with, we have virtual showroom. Now we have the Ritz-Carlton has offered their facility to us.
I saw that.
Yeah, and you get to, I don't know if I'll get any of my students back. If they're used to staying at the Ritz-Carlton,
yeah, it's time to spoil
I don't think they're going to come back to work. But all the CDC guidelines, completely safe. We've done everything above them. That we're using gigantic ballrooms for like 10 people and things like that. So I encourage anyone out there, if you're trying to get your students the next gen or someone in your store in the program, go ahead and do it. We have this thing covered 100%. Even the meals are served out of the Ritz-Carlton. So it's get yourself down and get these kids in these classes because they need educated. I mean, these are pretty complicated times now to run your stores and think you're going to do it next year. I've never seen that work out in anything I've ever done. Every time I've waited on something or belated something, it always came back to sting me. So John Beckman and the rest of the group have done a great job. Big thing we've seen recently is the increase of in-dealership consulting. Dealers that aren't maybe up to speed on a lot of this digital world. And you heard me talk about this before, Paul.
Yep.
Got to get even PPP protocols within your facility. You want to have the NADA come out. Our staff, they're schooled in many of these 20 group best practices, and they can come out there into your store and do that. So we've seen those skyrocket lately. The amount of dealers that are asking for that, someone to come in here. I don't want to send somebody out, but come here and show me what I got to do. So if you get a hold of John Beckman, who runs that whole thing, he'll get you in the middle there and get someone out to your store to get to these best practices in your store for anything you want, parts, service, sales, whatever it may be. But don't dawdle, as my dad says. Don't dawdle on this one. It'll come back to bite you. So
it sounds like, what it sounds like to me is that not only are you managing, kind of the day-to-day fireworks, but now the last few things that you mentioned feels to me like people are starting to put their heads up again and starting to look out and saying, like, how can I? Is that the vibe you're getting from across the country?
Really, I get a huge vibe from that. And also the dealers that are looking for advice are the ones that understand that education is the key to your success.
Right.
Education is the key to your success in this business, and doing the same thing 50 years later. Look, we don't do business today the way we did business 10 years ago. We don't do business 3 years today. Ago. 3 years ago.
1 year ago.
So this education, so you got to get out. So the in-store consultation's worth it. It's worth every dollar. All three of my children went to college and came back out as reaped huge rewards. But especially the number of things you have to understand, you have to know now. It's just not parts, service, sales, and body shop. You have to understand how to deal with this COVID issues. You have to understand with this whole new digital world and how it encompasses everything you do within your facility, all the personnel issues now, all those different things. So, we have the experts. The NADA has the experts. As I always say, that we have the black belts in the industry to train your people. There's nobody comes close. We have the best people. We have the depth and breadth of people and knowledge to be able to address dealers. So we're really looking forward to doing more in-home studies and the Dealer Academy.
Well, speaking of moving forward and looking and see what's over the horizon and kind of educating yourself. So the convention is scheduled for January in New Orleans, and it's crazy to think that the last event have gone to in automotive was actually the convention. And it's very possible that the next one might be like NADA to NADA, which is totally strange for most people in the industry. How's convention planning going? And I know anything can change over a 5-month period, but what's the boots on the ground? How's it feeling?
Well, I said it before and I'll say it again. It's one of the largest convention centers in the United States, over 1 million plus square feet. It's so huge. We got tons of room to do anything we want to do. Spacing, all those different things. But let's face it right now. It's been over a year. And if you things aren't going to change next year like they have this year, you are mistaken. We are in a huge change in the automobile industry. We got to get together. We got to get our heads together. We got to get with the OEMs, which have their manufacturer make meetings there. We have to be able to be in front. We have to. This isn't kind of like we think we want to, or maybe we can. We have to be able to go out there and meet with the manufacturers, meet with the vendors, meet with these different people, and to make sure, and we will make it safer than you could ever imagine. That's not the issue. We're really looking, just think about it in the grand scheme of things. Our latest dealer attitude survey results came back, and we had higher than even expected response from our dealer body. That tells you something. They are wanting to say something. The dealer body out there wants to speak. Well, when you get to the NADA, the make meetings, you get a chance to speak. Our dealer attitude surveys are a requirement for us at the NADA when we meet with our manufacturers to let them know what dealers think. So I appreciate the increase in the percentages. We can still go even further. I'm never satisfied till we have 100%. You can imagine, Paul. But when you go into that room, if we talk to our manufacturers, that's our chance to be able to, twice a year with the summer and winter, to be able to get in front of them and let you know what your concerns are. And that applies to the New Orleans show. Yep. We have to be there. We are full speed ahead. We have hundreds of vendors have already signed up for it. And I know everybody wants to take the line of least resistance. Well, I'll just skip a year. I'll think about it later. I don't really do it. Let me tell you something. Right. You skip it a year, you come back next year, you're going to be 2 years behind the 8 ball.
That's right.
You got to stay on top.
Well, look,
it.
I'll say if you want to book your flights, book it now. You can cancel them. They're really inexpensive right now. And there's, maybe I'm old fashioned, but there is nothing like being in person. Like everybody and every organization is pivoting to some kind of digital virtual event out of necessity. But I think discounting the fact that live events, you just get so much more done. Nothing can replace being in the room. You don't know who you're going to see, who you're going to run into, who you're going to get introduced to by someone who you happen to be talking. It just doesn't happen in a virtual event.
I don't know about you, but I'll never get married to somebody I can see on a Zoom. I'm just not going to do that. I got to be able to sit down and talk with them.
Well,
we are married to our manufacturers. We're married to them. They're our second marriage. And all the software manufacturers, all the equipment people in there, we're spending millions of dollars. We're married to them. We're not dating them. So, you got to be in front of folks. And I agree with you 100% with that. This is one of these years. There's no excuses.
Yep.
There's no excuses for showing up well and worried about this, worried about that.
Yep.
This is January. It's another 4 or 5 months from now. We can work with it. Things are going to work out. And we're excited at the NADA. But of course, we're open-minded like anybody else, Something crazy happens, we're going to be there. But man, you need to go to NADA every year. This isn't a pitch, this is reality. Every good dealer I know attends the NADA. Everyone that's successful, is making a lot of money, has great people, is building their business, they have happy employees. They go to the NADA show.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. We'll get to see each other in person then. And until then, thank you so much for giving us that shot of energy, giving the encouragement. Look, guys, listen to what the man's saying. Book your ticket. Lean into the organization that is fighting for you day in and day out. The training, look, Ritz-Carlton, send some people out there. You'll make a fan for life. You'll get some people motivated, fired up to learn some things, to grow. Let's deal with the pandemic, but let's keep our heads up and know that we're going to get over the hill. And when we get over the hill, we want a full head of steam.
You're right, Paul, and think about it, all the dealer friends. We are 18.8% of all the retail dollars spent in the United States. 18.8% of the retail dollars. We're a big deal, everybody.
Yeah.
We're a powerful organization in Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
Along with that, you got to look at the fact we have 32,099 franchises out. 32,000 rooftops. We got 18,000 rooftops, 32,000 franchises. We're a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We're a big deal out there. So our truck dealers, they move 71% of all the cargo across the United States. Think about if you went through your house and you took 7 out of 10 things you have in your house out because a truck couldn't get them to you.
That's a great
Think
point.
about that. We are a big deal.
Well,
so,
I agree. I'm sorry I have to cut you off. Absolutely.
Sure.
With that big deal comes a massive, I would say, responsibility to our economy, to our country, to be the best we can be. Rhett, thank you so much for sharing the energy and the perspective. I'm sure we'll do this again. And until then, I'll see you next time.
Hey, thank you for communicating with all the dealers out there. They need this. Thanks a bunch.
My best. Thank you.
All right.
Like I said, it's always great to have Rhett on the show to give us a little bit of perspective of what's going on in the broad sense. And I love that final encouragement. we're a big deal, and what that means is we have a big responsibility. So I hope that through what you've just heard there and kind of interaction on the show, we can move forward and really take that responsibility seriously.